Good day, everyone, and welcome to ICRA's webinar on Indian construction sector. Our sector expert, Mr. Shubham Jain, who's a senior VP and group head, will take you through the presentation. Over to Shubham, please.
Thanks, Anju. Good afternoon to all the participants and welcome to ICRA's webinar on the construction sector, where we plan to discuss our thoughts on the impact of COVID as well as the reduced state capex on the Indian construction sector. My name is Shubham Jain and I'm working as a group head and senior vice president at ICRA Limited. I, along with my team, track the entities in EPC, construction, transportation infra, real estate, and healthcare sectors. For today's webinar, I'm joined by an esteemed industry expert, Mr. YD Murthy, who is Executive Vice President Finance at NCC Limited. He has a very long and vivid experience of being a seasoned banker with SBI and then joining one of the largest EPC company, that is NCC Limited, where he has already completed 25 years of association. I'm also joined by my colleagues, Mr. Rajeshwar Burla and Mr. Abhishek Gupta, both of whom track the developments in the sector very closely. As the topic for today's webinar suggests, we believe that the current fiscal challenges faced by all the states will have a significant impact on their ability to continue the spends on capex, especially in this fiscal. Of the total rupees 10 trillion odd capital expenditure being funded annually by the government sources, almost 45 to 50% on an average has been the combined contribution from all the states if we see the last 2-3 years data. However, in the current fiscal, where the central capex is not expected to decline as much, but with high moderation in states capex, their contribution may decline to almost 25 to 30%. Ironically, NIP, National Infrastructure Pipeline, which was announced just a few months back, before the COVID has hit us, had envisaged states' contribution in capex to be even higher than central allocation going forward. Many large states have also explicitly announced cut in their capex plan for the year as they prioritize to contain the pandemic spread in their respective territories. If we see the Q1 results for most of the construction companies have also exhibited the similar impact on the sector. However, as per our interactions with several players in the sector, we understand that the level of activity has resumed to almost 90% of pre-COVID levels, which definitely is an encouraging indicator. We'll discuss some of these aspects during the course of this webinar. Besides this, today's webinar will also touch upon the performance of the companies, our rating distribution, and ICRA's outlook on the sector. With this backdrop, let me hand over the floor to Abhishek, who will be making the detailed presentation, post which we will hear from Mr. Murthy on his views on the sector, and then we will take up the Q&A. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Shubham. Very good evening to all the participants. Today's webinar on the construction sector, we'll have divided into 6 broad sections. We will start with the impact of COVID-19 on the construction sector and some macro data towards this. Later, we'll move to the theme of the webinar, that is outlook on the state government's capex towards infrastructure. Subsequently, we'll discuss how competitive intensity, particularly for the central government projects, is likely to increase given this backdrop. Towards the later part of this presentation, we'll look at the performance of sample of listed companies with ICRA tracks closely to understand the impact of COVID. And we'll end the presentation by ICRA's outlook for the near to medium term. To start with, on the COVID impact of the EPC or construction companies, broadly, COVID had 4 major hits on the sector in the past. While during the lockdown period, construction activities had come to a stop, subsequently reverse migration of labor and challenges in the supply chain or logistics had impacted execution. However, worst on these factors seems to be already behind us, and the situation had improved significantly from the bottom that was witnessed in the months of April and May. However, one factor which could still have a bearing on the construction companies is the expected reduction in capex by private sector as well as by state governments. This could have a bearing on companies which are focused towards these particular segments and sectors. And we'll discuss these aspects in the later part of the presentation today. To summarize the COVID impact, while COVID had impacted execution and new order inflows, particularly from those segments, as well as a working capital cycle, which would have an impact on the liquidity as well as execution being lower, the profitability would also be weaker. The sector was majorly able to withstand adverse impact due to certain structural mitigants which are there in the construction sector, like lower operating and financial leverage for most of the players. Further, the provision for extension of timelines, which are there in most of the contractual arrangement, as well as the measures which are taken by authorities, regulators, and governments combined, like moratorium provided to the banks, provision for release of bank guarantees, and reducing the retention money required from central government projects. These factors have helped in improving the liquidity as well as supported the quicker recovery of execution for many construction players. Let us now look at some of the key macro trends related to the construction sector to get a sense of how much was the impact of COVID and how is the recovery expected from here on. So at the macro level data, if we look at the construction GVA, which is a component of the overall GVA of the country, this has been witnessing a slowdown since the start of FY20 due to various factors like the general election in Q1, then extended monsoons, etc. The slowdown got severe or intensified in Q4 with the lockdown towards the end of March 2020. Now, subsequently, in Q1, FY21, which was worse impacted because of a large period of April being under lockdown, and subsequently there were labor and supply chain related issues. The construction GVA had almost fallen to about half in this quarter, that is Q1 FY21. Subsequent to that, it is expected that the recovery would be there in the rest of the 3 quarters of FY21. However, it could still be on overall degrowth for degrowth year on year, even for the rest of the 9 months. If you look at the high frequency data related to the construction sector, like the production data, which is available on the monthly basis for key raw materials like cement, steel, and other infrastructure goods index included in the IAP, there is an evidence of recovery visible in the recent months. From the bottom in April, these indicators have quickly recovered to almost 80, 90 to somewhere around 95% of the previous levels in the last couple of months. This supports the belief that there has been a recovery in the construction activities in Q2 FY21 and is likely to continue for the rest of this financial year. So let's now move to the theme of this webinar, that is the state government capex. So if we look at the larger picture, state governments plays a very crucial role in the overall infrastructure development in the country. And given that infrastructure is a major driver for construction companies' order book, this has a very significant role for the construction sector. If we look at the national infrastructure pipeline, which is significant, which assumes significant growth in the overall infrastructure investment over the next 5 years compared to what has been the trend in the past, the dependence on state again is higher than what has been in the past, and this is even higher than the central government share. The states together in the past have contributed to close ranged between 37 to 43% of the overall infrastructure investment in the country, and this last few years the average has been closer to around 37%. Now, this is projected to increase to around 40% as per the national infrastructure pipeline. Further, if we look at the quantum of investments on an absolute basis, NIP plans to almost double the pace of infrastructure investment over the next 5 years, which would mean that the role of states would become very crucial in achieving this. In terms of the infrastructure subsectors, while overall NIP has a higher focus on transportation, which includes roads, railways, ports, airports, etc., followed by energy and urban infrastructure. For states, the focus on high priority areas among the infrastructure segments has in the past been irrigation, roads, power, and water supply, etc. This is likely to continue going forward also. Let us now look at the states or the larger states in terms of the capex which they are undertaking in the segments in which these investments have been made in the infrastructure. Uttar Pradesh has been, in terms of the size of investments in infrastructure, being the largest state in the last few years. And they have seen improvement in infrastructure investment, with roads being a key beneficiary. The investment increased sharply in FY19, partly was also attributed to a lower base effect in previous years. Nevertheless, it's a sizable amount of investment which they are making. Similarly, followed by Maharashtra, which has also seen healthy and consistent increase in investments in the last 5 years. So overall, for these 12 states, the investment has increased at a CAGR of about 8% in the last 4 years. And these 12 states together account for close to 2/3 of the total capex by states. Hence, these would be crucial in determining the overall trend of infrastructure investment in the country, and the capex by these states would be a key monitorable. So in terms of the segments, if we look at transportation, which is primarily roads, irrigation, water supply, and energy, have been the key priority areas for state governments while making investments in the infrastructure sector. Well, let us now look at the factors which could have a constraint or which could result in lower state government capex in the current financial year, that is FY21. Now, with COVID and related slowdowns in the economic activities, states or state governments are looking at a significant decline in their revenues. Own tax revenue of states are likely to be sharply lower. One, due to curtailment of consumption, overall consumption in the economy, which would be lower than what they would have budgeted pre-COVID. So this would be significantly reducing the revenues. A large part of the shortfall in the SGST, which they will be getting, this is likely to be financed through borrowings, both from open market as well as back-to-back borrowings from GOI, instead of the GST compensation grants from GOI. However, there's an additional risk of shortfall in the central tax devolution in FY21 also. Now, ICRA estimates the likely central tax devolution in FY21 at around rupees 5 trillion, which would be 36% lower than the rupees 7.8 trillion in the budget for FY21. To which this kind of shortfall, the states have got one unconditional borrowing limit, which is raised from 3% of GSDP to 4% of GSDP for FY21. So additional 1% is available here through this additional borrowing limit. Over and above this, they have option of availing another 1%, which is conditional upon completing the 4 reforms. So if you assume only the first unconditional 1% is availed by all the states, it would provide 1.9 trillion for all the states together. Still, there's likely to be a shortfall, and center is expected to provide additional loans of around 1.1 trillion in lieu of the GST compensation. And other than that, a modest around 120 billion is also likely to be provided for capex and related payments. Having factored in all this, the extent of borrowing availed and reforms, I expect that states could still face a shortfall between 500 billion to 2.3 trillion rupees in FY21. Now, in this event wherein there is a revenue shock, they might be looking at reducing some of the routine expenditure. However, states would also have to incur some extraordinary expenditure related to the pandemic. So overall, states would have to prioritize, and it is likely that the capex would take a backseat in such a situation, and there would be a cut in FY21 capex to reduce the shortfall. Let's move to the next slide, which is the summary of the impact on the state governments. To summarize, with the COVID being there, the state government capex, which was earlier projected for budget for 25 states at around 5.7 trillion rupees for FY21, is now expected to reduce by around 10 to 40%, depending on the level of borrowing which the states resort to compared to the previous years. Now, this would have two-pronged impact on the construction companies. One, the new project investments and as well as execution of the ongoing projects could witness a reduction or pressure in FY21. And two, the bill realization for contractors could also get elongated because of the cash flow pressure at the state levels. So while in general, state capex would come under pressure, some states would still have stronger finances and would be in a better position. Further, infra projects which are undertaken by state corporations or SPVs, wherein there is a limited pending equity requirement and financial closure has been achieved, or state projects which are funded by multilateral agencies, would be better placed and would hardly see any adverse impact from this factor. So with this backdrop, the key takeaway is that the projects which are dependent on budgetary allocation could face a challenge in this financial year FY21. So this was a view on the state government capex towards infrastructure. Before we move on to the next section, we have a short poll here, would request if you can put in your vote. We'll be just launching this poll in a second. Just read out the poll. Given the revenue shortfall, overall capex by state governments in FY21 is likely to decline by, and we have 4 options here, by up to 20%, by 20 to 40%, a major decline by 40 to 60%. The last option is severe decline by more than 60%. We'll wait for a few more seconds before everyone responds. Okay, so we'll share the results of this poll towards the end of this presentation. Let's now move to the next section, which is on the competitive intensity in the EPC projects, which are awarded by central government entities. So we had a backdrop in which we mentioned that state government would face difficult finances, which would result in lower capex and could result in lower new order inflows. For central government infrastructure projects, apart from the funding through budgetary allocation, a sizable portion is also funded by various CPSEs. So in road sector, a large part of work is being done by NHAI on its own. Similarly, for railways, we have entities like RVNL or IRCON, and now ISTC also being there, which undertakes a large part of capex. So then there are other entities like NBS, NBCC, Airport Authority of India, etc. So while we do have some degree of dependence on these entities, do have some degree of dependence on the central government from their budgetary allocation, their ability to raise resources on their own is also established. And furthermore, even for central government projects, we have seen that their ability to raise funds is stronger compared to states. So if we focus first on the central government entities, CPSEs, that is, if we look at road sector, NHAI, for example, has been undertaking a sizable capex and has been raising resources from their own toll collection, monetization of assets, as well as raising funds through market borrowing. So besides the budgetary allocation, these also play an important role in the funding of the capex which these entities are doing. Hence, their ability to continue capex remains strong even in this backdrop. In fact, if we look at the awards made by NHAI in the last 6 months, they have increased compared to the same period last year. So this is a significant in the given environment, in the current environment. And the state government projects being lower, so competition in central projects is likely to increase. ICRA had done one study on the bidding trends for NHAI's EPC contracts over the last 4 years, and apparently the projects have been very competitive. Bidding for road projects, that is EPC NHAI projects, which has now increased around 70 odd projects, 70 odd active players. That is that the number of players bidding have increased. Furthermore, the projects which were bid at discount, overall, if you look at around 69% were bid at a discount to NHAI's base bid in the last 4 years. So the sector remains competitive. However, if you closely look at the winning bids and compare them with the NHAI's base bid in terms of trend that has been there over the last 4 years, we see that the players have been bidding judiciously without compromising on the margins, as the median variance of L1 with the NHAI's base bid, which used to be negative earlier, has reduced and has now turned positive for FY20. However, this is the past trend. Let us now look at what is ICRA's expectation for competition given the backdrop that we have discussed earlier. So ICRA foresees the competition to increase in the EPC contracts for the CPSE projects. And the reason behind this belief emerges from the lower capex that is expected in the state government projects, as well as private sector, particularly real estate and industrial infrastructure projects. So the projects in this segment tendering could witness a degrowth. As a result, the focus of players could be on the sectors wherein the new projects awards could still remain at the same level or even increase. So This is one, the supply side. On the other hand, if you look at demand, the companies, as they're growing, their bidding agility is also increasing, which adds to the overall competition in the sector. Unless this gets supported by commensurate increase in the tendering, they could result in an increased competitive intensity. Recently, I've also seen that Ministry of Road Transport and Highways had relaxed the financial and technical qualification for HAM and BOT projects. So while so far it is for only HAM and BOT projects, for EPC also it is likely to be done soon. So with this, more players could be eligible to bid, and competitive intensity could as a result increase. On the flip side, one constraint could be that while bidding, there's a sizable bank guarantee requirement, which could in turn increase as these players take up more and more orders. And bank guarantee comes with additional requirement of collateral as well as margin money, which could be a challenge for particularly for small and mid-sized companies. So this was the broad backdrop of the competition that we see in the EPC segment in the central government projects. Let us now move to the second last section, that is performance of the construction companies, how they have recently performed, and what is ICRA's view for their performance in the near term. To start with the order book or order inflows, so if you look at the FY20 and the recent performance in Q1 data that is here, one would have expected that because of COVID, the order inflows would be muted. However, on the contrary, players which are focused on road sector have seen the awards being very strong in Q1, supported by higher awards from NHAI and North. And since most of the listed companies have road projects in their portfolio, the sample which ICRA analyzed of 12 listed companies has witnessed an uptick in the order book position, supported largely by the road segment. If you look at NHAI's projects award itself in H1, the total length of orders were around 1,330 kilometers compared to 828 kilometers awarded in the same period last financial year. However, if you look at the macro level, that is across all the sectors and segments, new projects announced and contracts awarded in H1 have witnessed a degrowth. This is as per the data which is compiled and published by CMI Capex and Projects today. Nevertheless, the overall order book position of construction companies is expected to be healthy. Currently, for this sample set, we have the order book to OI ratio of 4 times, but in general, around most of the companies have higher than 3 times of order book, which provides them a revenue visibility assuming some growth of around 2.5 to 3.5 years. Let us now look at the financial performance, how the construction companies have performed. So ICRA has done a sample study on these 12 listed construction companies. The key outcome of which is shown in these four charts on the slide. The performance in Q1 was, as expected, weaker, with a degrowth of 40% in revenues, largely attributed to the lockdown. However, profit margins were only lower by around 200 basis points, and interest cover was only was lower, but close to around 2 times during this quarter, down from 1.5 times earlier. So, because most of these entities have a stronger financial profile and healthy profitability, the ICRA expects that the average revenue for the sample would witness a marginal degrowth in the rest of 9 months of FY21, and so that the full financial year FY21 revenue degrowth could be in the range of 10 to 15%. Operating profit margins is expected to remain stable, and consequently, the interest coverage ratio is expected to improve from Q1, but would be marginally weaker than the previous financial year, that is FY20. Before we move to the next section, we have a quick poll on expectation of company's performance in this financial year. May we please request to launch the second poll. Yes, so I'll quickly read out this poll. This revenue outlook for construction companies in FY21 versus FY20. And the options are marginal growth in FY21 versus FY20. Second option is a decline by around 10% in the revenues in FY20, decline by around 5%, and then the last option is yeah, thank you for your vote. So we'll now move to the last section of the presentation, which is ICRA's ratings coverage on this construction sector as well as outlook on the construction sector. So ICRA has live ratings for around 140 odd mid and large construction companies. The amount rated is over 1.2 lakh crores. As typical for the construction sector, most of the non-fund-based limits, that is bank guarantee, etc., are higher than the rated fund-based limits. Median rating for the sector is triple B. So in terms of rating actions, if you look at the sector had started facing some headwinds towards later part of FY20 with higher bank guarantee requirements, execution bottlenecks, etc., particularly for smaller entities or entities which are growing very fast. So this resulted in higher rating downgrades than upgrades in FY20. Prior to that, we had higher upgrades, but FY20 witnessed a sharp inflection point wherein downgrades outsmarted upgrades. In the current financial year, as an effect of COVID, entities which had a weaker financial or weaker liquidity position witnessed sharp deterioration in the credit profile. While the rating action sample size here is small, here also the number of downgrades have outweighed the number of upgrades significantly. However, this does not reflect entities whose ratings have been reformed or retained. So, and most of the entities in the sector which are investment grade have their ratings retaining or reformed to the same level. So, factoring that in, the ratio would not be alone would not be reflecting the credit profile or trend in the construction sector. Let's now move to the last slide, which is the outlook for the construction sector. So here in outlook, we are divided into two parts. One is on the operational parameters and secondly on the financial side. While in the operational parameter, we expect that the worst of the pandemic impact is over and the impact was highest in Q1. Recovery which is taking place would gradually be improving the execution quarter on quarter from Q2 onwards. The board sector would be supporting the execution as taken by if you look at the pipeline with NIP, the order inflows state overall.
Sorry, Abhishek, I think we are losing your voice in between. Can you start again on the slide, please?
Slide here is primarily on the outlook that ICRA has for sector. We have divided the outlook into parts initially for the operational part and then for the financial part. On the operational part, we expect that the recovery which has started from post Q1, that Q1 was the weakest quarter in terms of execution because of the worst for COVID pandemic. As things look currently, we should see a recovery going forward starting from Q2. And road sector is likely to support the execution going forward with the steps which have been taken by the ministry in terms of supporting execution. Over the medium to long term, in terms of order inflows, also the visibility is quite healthy, supported largely by National Infrastructure Pipeline, which has an ambitious target of doubling the infrastructure investment from the current level in the next 5 years. So these factors would help in supporting the order book position for the construction companies, along with the growth, which typically they would envisage from this. However, there could be a risk associated for the smaller players, which could be taking up larger orders as they grow. Their ability to enhance the working capital facilities, particularly non-fund based limits, along with higher execution risk involved if they take up more than the execution capacity, could result in some challenges for some of the players. But broadly, for the overall sector, we expect that operational issues would remain stable to positive only. The competitive intensity, as we discussed earlier, is likely to remain high, particularly for the central government projects. Moving to the financial part of the outlook, we expect that the revenue impact largely in FY21 would be there. So it could be close to around 15 to 20% decline in revenue in FY21, largely because of Q1 revenue decline, which was very severe. Operating profit margins could get impacted, could be lower around 100 to 200 basis points. Again, the impact would be more severe in Q1 as expected. Working capital cycle elongation is likely to happen for state government projects. For central government projects, we have seen that, in fact, it has turned to the positive only as central government entities have supported execution by providing quick release of the bills as well as providing a release of the retention money also in some of the contract. And in terms of new order inflows, as we discussed that, Q1 it is likely to be muted, but state government would be the major contributor for that. Other than that, central government entities and road sector is likely to see healthy order inflows. Over the medium term, our outlook on the sector is stable, as we see that the post-pandemic recovery for the sector would be quite healthy, and FY22 is likely to witness a positive growth along with improvement in operating or stable, at least stable operating profit margins, along with working capital cycle, which is likely to remain elongated over the medium term for sectors which are currently facing issues. However, broadly, it is not likely to worsen in FY22 beyond what would be there in FY21. And for entities which are facing issues in terms of stressed balance sheet, asset monetization would remain important. So these are entities which have higher leverage and have sizable exposure to BOT projects. So with this backdrop, our presentation now ends, and we can open the session for Q&A. Or Shubham, sorry, we'll hand it to Shubham for the next section, please.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for this insightful presentation. So now I would request our panelist, Mr. Murthy, to give his thoughts and his perspective on the sector. And before we start with Mr. Murthy, Rajeshwar, can you please share the polling results for the first poll?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Murthy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Very good evening, sir, and welcome to ICRA's webinar. So as you can see, we have launched this poll and asked the respondents to share their thoughts on what kind of reduction they expect in this fiscal in state capex. So almost 46% of the respondents are saying that by almost 20 to 40% is the decline that they see in this particular fiscal. So possibly you can start with this and give overall perspective on the sector. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vaidi Murthy, Executive Vice President from NCC. I thank ICRA and Mr. Shubham Jain for giving me this opportunity to participate in this webinar, and I try to cover all these points. First, about the COVID-19 impact on the construction sector. As you all know, on the 24th March 2020, the government has declared a lockdown, and there are orders issued by the government agencies to various construction companies across the country to stop the work at project sites. It has two major implications, because we cannot start the work at the project sites. Many of the workers who are at the project sites started leaving for their native places, etc. And also because the highways were closed, the supply chain got disrupted. Movement of raw material to the project sites has become a big problem. The entire month of April, we suffered on account of these two factors. And also many of the labor who left for their native places, they were not allowed to go to the native places. They were held in relief camps at various state borders. And so that also created a lot of difficulty for them to reach the native places. All in all, the month of April was a total washout as far as the construction companies are concerned. Then there is some relaxation by the end of April, and work has started in May in some sites on a project-specific basis. And it so happened that the execution of the work at projects has started slowly improving, and we reached a level of the construction industry has reached a level of about 30 to 35% in the month of May and June. That is reflected in the first quarter numbers of most of the construction companies. And in fact, if you look at the GDP numbers also, the economy, the GDP has shrunk by about 24% in the first quarter. And the major contributor for the shrinkage of GDP is the construction sector, where the shrinkage was as high as 50%. So naturally, most of the construction companies came out with very small numbers in terms of turnover in the first quarter. And there is further relaxation of the lockdown as we go forward. And there is good improvement as far as the second quarter is concerned. And construction companies across the country were able to reach a level of 60 to 65% execution in the second quarter. But again, because that is a monsoon quarter, that has its own challenges and difficulties. So the first two quarters of the financial year FY21 is more or less like a washout as far as the construction business is concerned. The real turnovers and real growth can happen only in the third and fourth quarters because the execution levels are picking up, and many companies are reporting 65 to 70% execution of a pre-COVID level, and they are also expecting to reach a level of 90% by the end of October, that is the current month. Workers have started coming back to their project sites. In some cases, construction companies proactively provided transportation to the workers so that they can reach the project site in time. In some cases, they have paid higher wages so that the work can be executed as per schedule, and so that they can avoid damages and delays in project execution. These measures are also helping to some extent. And going forward, the third and fourth quarter are likely to be far better than the first and second quarters. The order award also is picking up, and National Highway Authority is very active. It is already shown in the slides, and a lot of order award by NHA in the current year is happening. Likewise, the government is also looking at a national infrastructure pipeline. Because the economy is shrinking and because the government wants to kickstart the economy, they are likely to take substantial measures in terms of award of a lot of construction contracts, that is for development of physical infrastructure across the country. That is likely to happen in the third and fourth quarters, and definitely that is going to be a big opportunity for various construction companies. Slowly but steadily we are coming out of the COVID problem. But again, the virus is still there. To what extent it is contained and to what extent we manage to see that the projects are not affected because of COVID-19, that is going to be very important. Many of the construction companies are taking a lot of measures to keep social distancing and also wearing of masks at the work sites, and all those things are happening. But despite that, because the COVID spread has not yet come down, the peak has not yet been reached as far as India is concerned. Barring the COVID pandemic creating problems, the construction industry is definitely on a improvement in their turnovers and order books going forward. Then the other point we want to discuss about the state government capex. And in the process, what has happened is particularly the government focus, particularly at the state government level, has shifted towards healthcare measures, welfare measures, providing a lot of pension, a lot of food subsidy, etc., to various people at the bottom of the pyramid. So their ability and also their willingness to pay contractors on time, even after the work is done and bill is certified, has come down, particularly at the state government level. That is a cause for concern. But some states are definitely doing well. As far as the Nagpur-Mumbai Expressway is concerned, payments are coming well in time from the government agencies. There is an SPV, and they have declared financial closure, and so payments is not much of a problem. But some state governments, they are finding it difficult to make payments to the contractors because their share of GST revenues has come down, and because the tax collection shares have come down, their own ability to collect various revenues at state government level has come down, because a lot of restaurants have been closed, cinema halls have been closed, tourism is dysfunctional, all these things are creating difficulties for the state governments, and so that is impacting the payment cycle for the construction companies. And also the award of orders at the state government level has come almost to a virtual standstill in the first and 2 quarters of FY21, but slowly now things are looking to improve. As far as the competitive intensity is concerned, the large number of construction players are there. Competitive intensity is there, particularly for NHI road projects. We are seeing intense competition. But at the higher end of the cycle, like bigger projects, say in buildings, packages of 1,000 crores and above, in roads, the expressways, with a project size of say 2,000 crores and above, only limited players are getting pre-qualified. So the intensity is not that is not that bad. Particularly now they have called for bullet train projects, various packages. Each package is of the size of about 10,000 crores to 20,000 crores. About 3-4 companies have been pre-qualified. So the competitive intensity at that level is much less. As far as the government measures for supporting the construction company during COVID is concerned, one thing that the finance ministry has done is they have directed all the central government agencies like National Highway Authority, Steel Authority, etc., to see that payments are released to construction companies. That is helping us in terms of getting payments in time to some extent. And also, the finance ministry has issued some guidelines in terms of return of performance guarantees given by construction companies. And what it says is, if a project of 100 crores is awarded to a contractor, and as per the contract terms, he has given a performance bank guarantee of say 10 crores, and if the project is completed 50%, the performance guarantee value can be brought down by 50%. That is giving headroom for construction companies, and that is a good measure. And also, we need not pay bank guarantee commission. We need not provide cash margin on that expired portion of the bank guarantees. That is a good measure. Likewise, Reserve Bank has come out with a circular saying that all banks can give COVID loans to various borrowers up to 10% of the working capital limits. Even construction companies are getting these kind of loans at MCLR rates. They are good rates. That is also helping construction companies in terms of liquidity. And the Reserve Bank also permitted moratorium on payment of interest for the first 6 months up to August 2020, and subsequently the 6-month interest can be converted into FITL, that is funded interest term loan, to be repaid over a period of 6 months or so. So these measures are also helping the construction companies to see that the liquidity is maintained as required, and also helping them to see that they take care of all their contractual obligations without much difficulty. These are some good measures taken by the government. And as far as the credit profile of the construction companies is concerned, mainly because of this delay in payments, elongation of the working capital cycle, increase of the debt collection periods, many construction companies are struggling. And so some of the companies where the limits are available, unutilized bank guarantee limit, bank finance is available, they are drawing that. So the debt levels are increasing, not very disproportionately. But one thing is also there, no bank is ready to give any additional loan to construction companies. As far as banks are concerned, they are looking at it as a big credit risk. So getting additional bank finance in terms of fund-based limits and also bank guarantee limits and LC limits is becoming a challenge. And also availability of bank guarantee limits for the future projects is also a big difficulty, mainly because if the project is delayed for whatever reason, the client is giving extension of time, but at the same time, he is also asking the contractors to extend the bank guarantees. So the bank guarantee that should come back is not coming back, number one. And also, we have to go on paying commission for the extended period. That is affecting the profitability of the construction companies. Nevertheless, going forward, things are likely to improve. As far as the outlook is concerned, uh, for construction companies, I strongly believe the worst is behind us. Going forward, good opportunities will be there for frontline companies, mainly because the government of the day is planning to kickstart the economy. And to do that, one of the best things that they can do is to see that the physical infrastructure is developed, and if they implement the NIP, National Infrastructure Pipeline, in earnest and start awarding contracts, that is going to be a huge opportunity in the next 3 to 5 years for all construction companies. These are my opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks a lot. And as you very aptly mentioned, that opportunities are huge for the sector, but there are some challenges that we need to take care of. Rajeshwar, can you just show the result of the second poll before we dive into the Q&A session? Okay. So as we can see that almost 55% of the respondents are expecting a revenue decline by around 10% in FY21, which is, I think, quite acceptable considering the current situation and the impact which we had in Q1. So, Mr. Murthy, any specific comments on this poll result? Do you think your expectation are also in similar lines?
Yeah, it is easy to decipher because the Indian economy is likely to contract by about 10%.
10 odd percent. Right?
10 odd percent. Even the Reserve Bank is saying that. IMF has said that. So naturally, when the economy in which I am operating is contracting by about 10%, definitely I also can look at 10%. In fact, I would like to say construction companies may contract in FY21 by 10 to 15%.
Okay, okay. And so how do we incorporate the impact of the state capex moderation? Because overall GDP, there are various other contributors also when we calculate the overall GDP. Whereas in construction specifically, almost 50% of their order book is driven by the states. So do you think that will also have an impact on their decline in their revenues in FY21?
You see, construction companies are sitting on good order books at the beginning of the financial year, the FY21. So the real problem they are facing right now, or for the last 6 months, is that of execution, mainly because of government directives, lockdown, and non-availability of labor, non-availability of raw material at project sites, etc. Now, once this lockdown is lifted, they can jolly well go ahead and execute. And as far as the turnover booking is concerned, some definite good improvement is expected in the third and fourth quarters. But nevertheless, to offset the impact of first quarter may be difficult overall. So naturally, there is going to be a decline in the top line for many construction companies. And as far as the state governments are concerned, order books have taken a back seat already, and also it will take a while before order flow from the governments is likely to come. You are right, state governments contribute nearly 60% of the order book of construction companies, and if that 60% is not doing well, naturally the order books can also shrink. But at the same time, if the central government comes forward and aggressively start awarding orders like National Highway Authority is doing, like Airport Authority is likely to do, like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, they are coming out. Lot of defense projects are coming up. All these things can help construction companies to ramp up the order book as they go forward.
Sure, well said, sir. So now we can start with our Q&A session. So I will request the participants to either type in their questions in the Q&A tab or raise their hand so that we can unmute them and they can ask their questions. So both the options are available. You can opt for either. So we'll wait for a moment till the Q&A assembles.
Yeah.
So there are some questions here. I will start with some of them. The question from Justina Alexander. So the question is that EPC contractors face challenge of long-term funding. Are there any solutions paved to handle this challenge, both fund and non-fund based?
Yeah. Long-term funding for the EPC contractors, particularly well-rated contracts, they can go into the bond market, NCDs, etc. They can place in the market and get long-term funding, 5-year loans and all. And those rates are also come down. That could be a good starting point. But as far as the bank guarantees are concerned, it's a big problem for all construction companies. Mainly, bank guarantee by its very name has got to be given by a bank.
Bank.
And the banks are in a tight spot. They have got large exposure to construction companies. They are not happy with that kind of exposure, and the additional limits are not coming. And because execution has slowed down, the return of bank guarantees is also not happening. So all these things are creating a lot of pressure in terms of providing adequate bank guarantees to the clients by almost all construction companies as of now. And added to that, if they want to kickstart the infrastructure pipeline and start calling for big orders, like I was telling about the bullet train,
Bullet train,
etc.,
yeah.
where huge orders are going to be awarded, but a good number, huge amounts of bank guarantees are also required for those projects, over and above whatever limits we have got. In this direction, the finance ministry has started an initiative to look into the matter of involving insurance companies to provide bank guarantees or letters of comfort. They formed a committee. IRDA, the Insurance Regulatory Authority, has formed a committee which is looking into this aspect, and they are likely to submit their report maybe in 3 months' time. After that, maybe either avenue of bank guarantee availability maybe coming for construction companies.
Okay. And sir, internationally, like there is a concept of monoline sureties or this professional liability insurances. So are authorities contemplating such solutions also?
Yeah, they're talking of sureties.
Yes.
Insurance companies can give sureties,
Okay.
but this is a new concept as far as India is concerned. Number one is whether the client will be happy with a surety given by an insurance company, or he will insist on a bank guarantee.
Bank guarantee.
Or based on the surety given by the insurance company, XYZ bank can give a bank guarantee because client is asking for a bank guarantee.
Bank guarantee.
Then the cost of getting the guarantee also goes up, because for the surety
there are
giver
two
I have to
levels.
pay commission.
Yes.
For the bank I have to pay bank guarantee
Bank,
commission.
yeah.
The cost will go up. So that is an issue we have to carefully examine.
Sure, sure. So next question is from Ms. Deepika Mehta. Yeah, Ms. Deepika, I have unmuted you. Can you please go ahead and ask your question? Ms. Deepika Mehta? Okay.
Ms. Deepika, you have to unmute yourself, please.
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Which states, in your opinion, are in a bad state, and which sectors are they more concentrated with, which will see dire situation going forward?
You see, state governments are a mixed basket. It depends, it varies from state to state, from time to time, and also based on the people at the helm of affairs, how important that particular project is for the government of the day. All these things one has to carefully examine. Before that, if you look at central government agencies like, say, Airport Authority of India, a National Highway Authority, or the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, or defense projects, they are all AAA rated companies. They have got their annual budgets, and once the work is done and bill is certified, payments are coming in time. There is not much of a problem there. But when you come to state governments, definitely we have to do an ABC analysis. Again, from time to time, it can vary from time to time based on the various factors involved, and carefully go ahead with projects. Now, for example, we are facing difficulty in terms of payments in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Many contractors are facing. Likewise, in Telangana also payments are elongated. But in Maharashtra, things are doing well, like the Nagpur Mumbai Expressway, etc., where the new government is also supporting the project, and the SPV has declared financial closure, and so the money is available on tap, and so the payments are coming fast and quick, provided the work is done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Pawan, you can ask a question. You have to unmute.
Yeah. Hi. Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Pawan, please unmute yourself. You're not audible. Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Pawan.
Like I was mentioning that no, earlier you mentioned that the labor has migrated and currently they're coming back is what you indicated. So currently, do you think that the labor costs will revert to the pre-COVID levels, or do you believe that there will be escalation in labor costs and consequently impact on profitability of construction company?
Yeah, that is likely to be the case. To see these labor, they have gone to their native places. They are getting their pension. They are getting their Aadhaar cards are there. The government subsidy every month. Some rice and other wheat and other things are given to them. They are all getting everything there. And having gone to the native place with great difficulty, maybe they spent some time in the relief camps at the state borders and all that. They are not likely to come back immediately. At least 2-3 months they would like to stay there. We are inducing them in some cases by offering them about 10% extra, etc. And also the construction companies are providing transport, arranging some buses and all to bring them from their native places to the project sites. It will definitely increase the labor cost, but at least the project will move forward.
Okay, understood, sir. Thank you.
So there is a question from an attendee. So they're asking any specific outlook on irrigation sector capex, and do we expect any funding challenges and weakening of counterparties? So as we have seen, like states like Telangana, Andhra Pradesh had been very, very active earlier in the irrigation sector. So what is your outlook on this specific sector?
These two states, they have awarded a lot of irrigation projects. Their plate is full. In fact, they are struggling to make payments in time. I don't think much of a progress in irrigation in these two states is likely to happen. Other states we have to see. By and large, because of the COVID, etc., the state government to focus on these projects is also not there right now. So for the time being, there may not be much of an activity there.
Okay. Any other state do you see coming actively in the irrigation sector now?
I have no knowledge, sir.
Or Gujarat?
Maharashtra, they have done earlier. Right now,
Yeah. Right now,
not much as far as I know.
Okay. Okay. And sir, you also mentioned about this initiative by the government to release partial BGs to the extent of work completed. So on ground, how has been the situation? Is it really easy to get the BGs back from the government, or there are challenges involved?
Yeah, you see, that is a directive by the finance ministry, and they have informed all the central government undertakings like National Highway Authority, National other agencies like Airport Authority of India, and also the government, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Defense, etc., where we are finding it easy to get the letters. We discussed with the banks, and once the government agency which is implementing the project gives a letter saying that 50% of the project work has been completed, and so the performance guarantee value can be reduced by 50%. The banks are giving a simple letter saying that the bank guarantee value has been reduced. And so accordingly, to that extent, the limit is available. But when it comes to state governments, there are difficulties. To what extent they implement in their respective states, and many states are run by opposition parties, how they look at this kind of a facility, etc., are important. And there is some slowdown in those aspects.
Okay. Okay. So you are saying that central PSCs are doing much swifter job as compared to the state authorities.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Rajeshwar, there is a question on NHAI, like is performance guarantee release available for NHAI EPC projects? Would you want to throw some light on that?
Yeah. As discussed during the course of the presentation, under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, the performance guarantees also on prorated basis in line with the construction progress. There is a provision for release of those, and NHAI has started following that. So both the retention money release as well as the performance bank guarantee on prorated basis release is something which NHAI is currently started doing that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Mayank Goyal, you can ask your question. We have unmuted you.
Good evening, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. Just one question regarding state capex. So, while we are talking about states funding or the payment cycles being stretched, in the state of Andhra Pradesh itself, we have read media articles about the state government increasing taxes on sales of liquor and then seeking long-term facility from banks, almost to the tune of 25,000 crore. So, sir, my question was, what is your view on these type of new fundings being raised by states? Do you see other states coming up too, and any resultant increase in capex? Whether this will actually ease out pressure on them, and then eventually they can focus more on infra creation?
You see, funding is important at state government level. They don't have deep pockets like central government. Definitely, they have to look at other avenues of raising funds. But right now, you see, suppose you mentioned about liquor. If the tax on liquor is increased substantially, the consumption of liquor also may come down. Ultimately, government may end up getting what they were getting earlier. It may not increase their revenues very substantially. It happened when the liquor sale was allowed in the various states after the lockdown was relaxed. So it will taper out. To what extent they can succeed, or maybe they should have long-term funding. That is more important than simply going on increasing the taxes here and there. That is one thing. And more importantly, even if they get the money, to what extent they can spend on infra projects in that state. And their focus right now is on welfare measures and healthcare measures. So we have to wait for some time for state capex to increase for infrastructure activity.
Okay, sir, understood. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Ravi.
I had 2-3 questions, sir. One is, how is the labor position now at the construction sites compared to pre-COVID levels? The other thing is, what's the situation on rural water supply schemes? How are the awards in this sector, and the payments coming out from this?
As far as the labor is concerned, improvement is there. I have already mentioned in the month of June, we were having about 60 to 65% of execution compared to pre-COVID level, and slowly it is going up. We expect it to go up to around 90% or so by the end of October or early November. What is the second question?
The other
please?
question is related to water supply. How is the situation in the projects related to rural water supply in terms of how is the awards in that sector, and also how are the payments coming there?
Water supply, many governments have taken it as a welfare measure, particularly in the state of Telangana. They have come out with Mission Bhagiratha, where the Chief Minister was keen on providing potable drinking water to every village in the state, and also to the every household in every village. that is the last mile connectivity. They have taken it on a mission mode, and they have done the project well in time. In fact, the CM was on record: unless I supply drinking water, I will not ask for votes. And he kept his promise. It is a nearly 46,000 crore project, implemented well in time before the elections. And also the CM has come back to power. Other states are also like to replicate the model of Telangana in terms of providing potable drinking water to the villages and to the rural population. But I have not come across any major schemes in the remaining states as of now. As you know, last 6-7 months, everybody is busy with COVID and all that. Perhaps they will also take it up.
Thank you.
Okay. There is a question on by Ms. Shweta Matre. While NHAI has allowed extension of time for COVID, which they have again allowed for one more quarter till 31st December now. So what is the average time period across projects required for receiving final approval from NHAI HO head office?
For the extension of time.
For extension, yes, sir.
I have no knowledge about this. I'm sorry. Maybe somebody from the ICRA team can answer.
Okay.
Yeah. So the extension of timeline due to the impact of COVID on the overall execution ranges anywhere between 3 to 6 months. So on a case-to-case basis, depending on how severely were the projects impacted because of certain lockdown imposed in the respective regions, because different geographies have followed different restrictions, etc. So depending on that, on a case-to-case basis, it could be ranging anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And in many cases, this is something which will get added to the overall execution period. So these will typically get settled once the project's near the completion. They may not have the EOT in place right away, but once the project's near completion, that's when the overall workings on the extension of timeline will get computed.
Okay. Thanks, Rajesh. And the last question, which is from Mr. Pradeep Gavne. So he's asking, is COVID loan expected to impact the ratings of the company, credit rating? So to that I will respond. So it will not have any direct impact on the rating of the companies. In fact, we will see it as a liquidity cushion available to the entities to tide through this tough period, because it is another form of funding. What will have an impact on their credit profile is what is the outlook on their revenue visibility, the kind of cash flows they will be able to generate by execution of their order book, and the availability of those cash flows to service the debt. So just by opting for COVID loan, that will not be a trigger for impacting any company's rating. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time. So we are done with our Q&A. There are no more questions in the Q&A queue also. So it was a really pleasure to have you with us for this webinar. Thanks a lot again for your time.
Thank you very much, and thanks for all the participants.
Yeah, and thanks a lot to all the participants for taking out time and attending this webinar. In case you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us. Thanks a lot and take care.
Thank you.